The GOP is, of course, known for being that party of family values, but they've come a long way since those genuine conservative days. Turns out that a leading Republican candidate for governor in Oregon is someone who likes to experiment in his sex life with his wife, which is totally fine, but that was used against him in the form of Oppo research. But I like his response to this Oppo research. So Stan Pulliam is the candidate here. He is a Republican candidate. He's the current mayor of Sandy, which is a city of about 10,000 people located not too far from Portland, Oregon. And his run for governor hit a little bump in the road once it was discovered that he was on this Facebook page along with his wife for swingers, okay? So here's what came out, one of his posts on the page from 2016. Hi everyone, Mackenzie and I are excited to be added to your little community. Some of you have already had the pleasure to meet. And we look forward to getting to know the rest of you. Cheers and happy Saturday. Nice little photo montage there for everyone to enjoy.
Indeed, very nice montage.
Yes.
And they're an attractive couple, good for them.
So when, of course, people were criticizing the fact that he's a grown adult who was involved in consensual, intimate stuff, he said, quote, "We explored relationships, mutual relationships with other couples for a brief period of time before ultimately deciding it wasn't for us. I think people can relate from all different parts of the state who have been involved in marriages. There are different stages of marriage and different ebbs and flows. This is something that was for a brief period in our past and is in the past." So he's saying, look, we're not really into this anymore, but we used to be, and he's not apologizing for it, which I respect. He also says in Oregon, we really cherish values of individuality and liberty. These decisions that we made were for Mackenzie and I to make in the privacy of our own homes. We're certainly not asking anybody to participate or practice or do any of the things that we have decided to do in the past, but we're also certainly not ashamed of decisions that we've made in the past either, as they've made us stronger.
They didn't need to make you stronger, you could have just had the sex, who cares? Anyways, so the town is called Sandy. And they also swung with a girl named Sandy. So it's a nice little, I don't know that. They said, look, we went through and did this for a while, but we decided
they went through marriage, that's what happened. They went through marriage, and people going through marriage manifests in different ways. For them, it manifested in this way for a brief period of time, allegedly. Do you, boo? Why do I care?
And others apparently. And they said, look, and then we decided it wasn't for us because we ran out of people in the town. Okay, now my real opinion. Let him go, let him go. Why is it our business? Who cares? People are so weird. They're like, are they gonna drop out? Oh, they've decided not to drop out. Why? What did they do wrong? Look, they're Republicans, so you want to talk about hypocrisy? Okay, fine, but look, the Republicans back in the day, when they said family values, Anna was partly kiddingly saying like, oh, back when they meant it. They never meant it. Yeah, they never meant it. They were always hypocrites. They were always doing all the things they said you shouldn't do, right? But at least with Trump, I think they got less hypocritical because he's like, oh, raw dog with a porn star a couple of times over while your wife is pregnant. They're like, we're here for it, right? Okay, good. So you don't believe in family values, you never did, and thank you for admitting that you were lying for decades. But at least we're past it, right?
Yeah, Trump gave them permission.
Yeah,
Trump gave them permission.
Yeah, to let their freak flag fly, and that's good. God bless. By the way, Roger Stone, one of the top allies of Donald Trump and a terrible person, also a swinger. And back in the day, he was at least. Back in the day, that cost him in the Republican Party. The Republican Party excluded him because he got caught swinging. And it led him down a very dark road, which it didn't need to because, by the way, Democrats didn't judge you. People on the left didn't judge you, Roger. It was your fellow Republicans who were like, oh, I can't believe you're doing that, while they were in the next room. Come on, keep it real, right? So, but in this case, I don't know that guy was running on family values. I'd be really surprised that he was. There's no indication that he was.
I mean, he's running on a bunch of things that are garbage. So I'll tell you that. Like politically, like let's have a conversation about his politics. Hogwash, awful, right?
Hogwash.
So that's where I think the criticism is warranted, and we will definitely engage in that criticism. But in terms of his private life with his wife, who he's been with for 12 years. I will say this, if his telling of the story is accurate, he's not fibbing in any way, I'm actually impressed that they were able to dabble with that and it didn't destroy their marriage, because oftentimes I think that is what ends up happening. Like, not all the time, right? There are legitimate swingers out there and they can handle it, and but no, some marriages, they hit like, one of those ebbs, they're looking for a flow, and then they like experiment with things that leads to destruction.
With flows, and it doesn't end out well.
Yeah.
Hey, they did it, and they're fine. So look, he's a Republican. The minute you said he's a Republican politician, I assumed he was a lunatic.
Yeah, like he has crazy things to say about the 2020 election. Let's go to graphic 6 here. He said President Trump may very well have won the past presidential election.
Sure.
And the fact that we may never know with 100% certainty who was the true winner is a travesty.
That's because you're lying about it.
Yeah, he's insane. Like, I have no love for this guy. The truth is that leading up to the election, there was a well-coordinated network of lawsuits, opportunistic COVID concessions, rampant barriers imposed on election observers, and a nation unprepared for the wide adoption of vote by mail. So
none of that
lunatic.
is true. Yeah, totally nonsense. Okay, but I don't care. Like, you should vote against him for those reasons. Those are legitimate reasons. But the reason he's in the news is because he's a evil swinger. Like, honestly, we're all used to it and we all snicker, and I'm joking around about it, etc. But why is it even in the news? How does that affect any of his policy positions? How would that affect whether he's a good mayor or a bad mayor? How, like, in what way would that affect your vote? It would only affect your vote if you're a weirdo, judgmental prick who's like, oh, I don't like the way he was having sex. I'm gonna vote against him. Oh, I don't like how they conducted their marriage. I'm nosy and I'm gonna butt into their business, okay? Oh, you shouldn't have done that with your wife, and you shouldn't have done that with your husband. You should do this and this. Well, you're a bad person, you're an uninteresting person, so if that's how you decide your votes, well, we were doomed anyway because you were gonna make an irrational decision. So this should not be a political story at all. On this issue, not even close to guilty. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.